Oh, do we have a great recipe to show you? It's a Caspian Beef and Noodle Casserole. Quick, easy, economical on a shoestring budget. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're ready to get started with the Caspian Beef and Noodle Casserole. It's real easy, it's real quick, it doesn't take a lot of time. You're looking at about 45 minutes total from start to finish, getting the whole process done. What we have here is a pound of ground beef. As I've shown you in previous episodes and previous shows, is I buy it in the bulk in the 5-pound chubs or a 10-pound chub even, and then I just cut it myself, take out what I need. That way you can use it for other dishes. You got an onion here, quarter cup of blue cheese, quarter cup of shredded cheddar cheese. You got 6 ounces of the extra wide noodles that we're going to cook. Got a little butter. You got paprika, Tabasco sauce, Worcestershire sauce, red pepper. You got some garlic powder. You can use minced garlic if you have that too, fresh garlic. Remember, you're the cook, so you can add in and take out what you don't like. Sour cream. You're going to be using 3 cups of sour cream. You got your parsley here, pepper, salt, ready to go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cook the noodles according to the package. Do it al dente. You bring your water to a boil, put a little salt in there, a teaspoon of olive oil or Wesson oil. That'll keep it from sticking together. And then cook it al dente. And what al dente means is a little hard. You don't want to cook it all the way through so it's really soft and falling apart like you're going to eat it now, because remember, we're going to finish this off and when we bake it in the oven for 30 minutes, okay? So we're going to get started cooking this, drain it, put that off to the side, put it in reserve, and then we're going to go ahead and do our ground beef, cut our onion and all that. So let's go. Hey, welcome to Crazy Otto's Empire Diner. That's 100 West Albany Street right here in downtown Herkimer. You may remember me or notice me as the host at CNY Flavor. You can come on that website at cnyflavor.com and learn all about the cooking show that airs on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. But we're talking about Crazy Otto's Empire Diner right now. You know, a lot of times you see TV shows, you wonder if the cook, the chef is there, if he really actually cooks or he actually is in a restaurant. Well, I'm one of the guys that have been there, done that, and is still doing it. Right here, you can come in, you can see me cook. I'm here virtually every day. Here at Crazy Otto's, they don't call us crazy for nothing. Everything here is fresh and homemade. As you can see, we fresh slice our tomato. Everything's done fresh to order. Doing actually a BLT right now. This is Michael, also happens to be my son. Hey, all right. Hey, welcome to Crazy Otto's. Come on in, give us a try. You won't be disappointed. Okay, so we have our noodles on. They're cooking. They're almost done. Usually takes about 6 minutes once your water is boiling. I'm going to take the onion. Remember, I always talk about knife safety and when you're cutting onions. Another little tip here too is don't leave your onions for an extended period of time in your refrigerator, because that's when they start discoloring and get a little bacteria in them and stuff, and they can really break down. So that's why you usually see onions that are out. Now, once they're cut and you chop them and you're going to use them within a few days, it's okay to put them in the refrigerator, but not to store them, okay? So you just chop down, take it, come right in the side, throw that out. Now you need about 1/4 of a cup. Okay, this right here is about 1/2 of a cup, so we're going to cut this down, put this in reserve, and you just want to chop them so that they're fine, not too fine. You want to do medium. Remember, knife safety, keeping your fingers away from the knife. Cut it down. This is just going to saute right up inside the pan with the butter. And we're ready to get that started. Remember, cooking, everything is timing. So as the noodles are almost done. We're going to drain them and just put them in reserve. And then we're going to start the butter, the onion. If you have fresh garlic cloves, put your minced garlic in there. Saute that up till it becomes a little bit translucent. And then you're ready to add your ground beef. So we're going to head over to the stove real quick. I'm going to drain the noodles because they're done. I'm going to add my onions, my butter into the frying pan and get that all going, and then add the ground beef. So it's real easy. That's all you do is you put your butter right in there. You're going to let this melt down a little bit. Season the pan a little bit. Take it and just spread your butter around. Take your onions, just dump them right in there. Again, if you have the garlic cloves and you did some fresh garlic, that's a good touch to it. And you're just going to let this saute up. You can do it at a high heat. I'm going to add some garlic powder to it right now. And that's all I'm going to do is just sprinkle it around. This will help marry the garlic inside the onion too, okay, as the butter and it all starts cooking together. It'll just add flavor to the onion. So this is starting to saute here. As you can see, I got a high heat going on, and we're just going to cook this till it's translucent. And then once that's done, I'm going to add my ground beef. I got the 1 pound of ground beef, and I'm just going to crumble it up inside of it. And then when that's going on, I'm going to show you a couple different things that we're going to do to put in reserve with the blue cheese and the cheddar cheese and 1 cup of that sour cream. Remember, I got 3 cups of the sour cream. 2 cups of the sour cream are going to go in with the beef and the Tabasco, Worcestershire, and other ingredients. 1 cup of the sour cream is going to get mixed right with the blue cheese and the cheddar cheese, because that's what's going to top off the casserole as we bake it, okay? Now, what I did with the noodles, just to let you know, is when I cooked them off al dente, I strained them, drained them, okay, put them in the colander, and then I immediately ran cold water over it, okay? Cold water will actually stop the cooking process, because a lot of people don't realize when they're doing noodles or rice and they cook it and it's perfect on the stove, and then they take it off and they're doing something else because it's part of another dish. They don't immediately give it an ice bath or cool it down. And that continues the cooking process. When you don't do that, even though it's sitting off to the side and you've strained all the water out of it, it'll still continue to cook. So before you know it, you go back to use it into your dish and it's overcooked. And by the time it all comes out together, it's really mushy. So that's just a little trick there, is to immediately run it under cold water, because that will stop the cooking process. And just to show you here, this is what I put it in the colander, and it's still nice and al dente. It's 80% done, okay? It's 80% done right now. And when we put it into the casserole and bake it off, that's what it'll absorb some of the other ingredients, which will make it that much more tasteful, okay? As you can hear it, this is all sauteing really, really nice. Get my trusty wooden spoon going here. Starting to brown nice. And as you can see, it's just browning up beautifully. And even though I only use 1 tablespoon of the butter, the onion has juice in it too, and so that's what will start cooking down, putting a little liquid in there, okay? So this is about right where I want it to be. It's turning translucent here. It's cooking down. It's got a great smell to it. I'm going to take my ground beef and I'm just going to break it up a little bit. Start putting that right in with it. And as you know, ground beef, depending upon the ground beef that you're going to use, this one here is an 81-19 blend, meaning it's got the 19% fat. You can use, if you like more juice, more taste, you can use a 73-27, which will give it more fat and flavor. Or if you really want, you're health conscious and you want to go lean, you can go a 95-5 blend, which won't give it that much fat. Okay? So you're just going to do this till it's brown. Brown it up. You're only looking at about 6 minutes for this whole process here while you're cooking this, because it'll cook up really, really good, really quick. And you're just marrying all these ingredients. And then what I'll do is I'll shut this down and let it just sit in its own juices while I combine everything else and get it ready for the casserole. My oven's been preheated to 350. And once I put this in the oven, you're looking at about 30 minutes. We're ready to go. See, now another thing too that people do when they're doing something like this and they're using ground beef, whether it's the Caspian beef and the ingredients we're putting in, is they overcook the beef and they kill it. And I don't kill it. I cook it till it's about medium. Because remember, it's still going to cook while it's in the oven. You want all these juices all marrying in it. Okay, so I'm going to show you this now because I'm going to shut it off. You see how I still got some pink in here, okay? It's brown, meaning I've browned the beef, the onions, the garlic, everything's inside here now. And this is still going to continue to cook when I shut it off. This has only been approximately 4 minutes. And now I'm ready to just shut this off, okay? Shake this up, and now I'm going to let this sit here just for a few minutes while I go over and put everything else together.
Perfect Game Imaging strives to deliver sport action photography that renders images that without us, our clients and customers would normally not even see. I can't tell you how many viewers of our images have asked, "How did you get that shot?" Or, "I didn't even see that happen during the game." It is our mission to have our action shots hanging on the walls of the athletes' families' homes and offices as centerpieces to be cherished for a lifetime.
Okay, so while the ground beef and the onions is 70% cooked over there, I'm going to put together my little sauce that's going on top. You use a sour cream. I got 3 cups here. We're going to use 1 cup because 2 cups are going to go right in the beef over there. So you use 1 cup here, okay? And you're going to take the 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese, shredded, and the blue cheese, and you're just going to throw this right in with the sour cream, okay? Take that and just mix it all together. See, just to show you how this is coming out, you're marrying all these together, and this is what's going to go on top of the casserole and then cook down into it. It's going to just like drizzle down like a rainy day coming down in. And so that's all you do is right there, and then this is going off to the side. And we're going back to the stove because now we're ready to add our Worcestershire, red pepper, Tabasco sauce, all this good stuff over here. We're ready to add that into the beef, put it all together, and we're ready to go into the oven. So I turned the stove back on. Remember, it was about 70% cooked, and look at it, it's still browned up really, really nice. It just slowed the cooking process down while I'm timing my ingredients. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the other ingredients in, which is a tablespoon of the Worcestershire sauce. A lot of people don't realize too that the main ingredient in Worcestershire sauce is anchovies. That's a surprise to most people because of the way it cooks down and becomes part of a wonderful sauce. We're going to take half a tablespoon here. I'll use that one. Of red pepper. Red pepper. Sprinkle it right in. Okay. Salt, you're looking at a teaspoon of salt. And your Tabasco, I only put some, call an 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm putting 1/4 of a teaspoon in this. right here. Give it nice, wonderful flavor. I had the opportunity to go down to Avery Island in Louisiana to the McElhenney family's operations with Tabasco, and when you talk about the process that Tabasco takes a couple years to make, and they make everything from Tabasco ice cream, Tabasco coffee. Wonderful experience. I'll tell you that on a later show, because I was absolutely amazed at some of the things that they do and how they do the distilled vinegar and the barrels that they use from Jack Daniels and Jim Beam, the old oak Basque barrels, and how they store them. You'll be amazed at some of the byproducts that they make from Tabasco sauce. When they make like close-up toothpaste, gummy bears, Bengay, a lot of things. Nothing goes to waste from those little red peppers that they use down at the McElhenney operations on Avery Island, Louisiana. One thing I'll tell you right now, the salt that they use, the natural salts, if you can picture this island in Louisiana called Avery Island, underneath it is where their salt mines are that they get right from there. And if you can picture Mount Everest, okay, their salt mine is as deep as Mount Everest is tall. That's huge. They're never going to run out of that salt there. Okay, so here it is, all ready to go. We're going to take the 2 cups of the sour cream and add it right to it. And this is what I have left here. We're just going to take it and pour it right into it. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Then just stir it right into it here.
Is this who you'd call if you need a mechanic? Is this who you'd call if you need a babysitter? No Sheep Designs is the right call for your business when you need professional, affordable web development, photography, or video production. With a decade of experience, we have the knowledge and passion to bring your project to life for much less than you'd expect. Visit NoSheepDesigns.com today to see how we can help you.
Okay, now the first thing we're going to do, because this here is cooked, all joined in together. Just make sure that you stir it real good, that the sour cream doesn't clump up, that it actually breaks down. Okay, so this thing is all ready to go. Stick this right over here. What we're going to do is shut this off, and we're going to take our noodles and we're going to place our noodles right in the casserole. And let me see here, I'll use this one. We're going to take this and pour it right over it. See that onion juice right there? Oh. We're just going to work this in. Beautiful. Okay, now, if you remember the blue cheese, the cheddar cheese, and the sour cream, this is all right here. We're going to place this right over the top. And this is going to cook and melt down right into it. Just work it right in. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. Take some of your paprika and you're just going to sprinkle this right over the top. Liberally put it on. And there it is. It's ready to go in the oven. All right, our Caspian noodle casserole is just about done. Ooh. Look at that. Now what I did, just to let you know, is when I put it in the oven, I covered it with tin foil for 20 minutes. Okay, and then the last 10 minutes of the cooking process, I took the top off. just to let it brown up. And if you can see this bubbling, I don't know if you can see that. It's all bubbling up nice and hot right now. Now you can use a spatula or a ladle. I'm just going to use a little ladle right here. Chop it down. Oh, come right out. Oh, look at that. And again, this will feed 4 to 6 people. You see how little I took out, okay? Make this quick, easy, economical on a shoestring budget. CNY flavor. This is where we teach you how to cook on a shoestring budget. I'm not saying you don't know how to cook. Okay, I don't want to give that wrong impression there. I guess on a previous episode, someone said I made reference to them not knowing how to cook. I would never say it like that. These techniques, they'll help to teach you to become a better cook, okay? I'm still learning, and that's the thing. You got to be teachable. So don't be so sensitive out there. I love having fun, too, as you can. I believe laughter is the language of the heart. So here it is, Caspian Beef Noodle Casserole. Boom, quick, easy. Hope you like it. Hey, Scott Tranter here, host of CNY Flavor, and we have a great segment in store for you. We're sitting here at PK's Pub on King Street in downtown Herkimer, and I'm with the chef manager, Brian Hess of the Hess family, the petroleum giant. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that check to still show up there.
But he is the managing head chef here at PK's Pub. And Brian, it's great to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Great to sit down and talk with you. And it's a privilege and an honor to be here. You have a wonderful facility. It's very deceiving from the outside.
Yes, it's from the outside you don't realize all this is in here. Mostly because we took 2 houses and put them together to get where you are now, which is our banquet room. So from the outside you don't really know we're as big as we are.
The funny thing is that I've actually eaten in here, okay, but I sat in the other dining room, never realizing you had this dining room here.
Yeah. That's kind of the other nice thing about this is that it's secluded enough that when we do the parties and stuff that everything's kind of broken up so you don't get the chaos of 110 people restaurant, of everybody being at the same time.
So the restaurant seats approximately 110.
Yep.
But this room
will do 55, comfortably, I say 45 to 50.
Okay.
Would be.
And you can have, what, like anniversaries?
Anniversaries, showers, wedding rehearsal dinners, we do a lot of those. Birthday parties, we do a lot of business meetings. We're set up for PowerPoint and all that in here also, so we can do all those activities also.
So any clubs like Rotary?
Rotary, we see those every now and then. Mohawk Community Club's in here quite a bit. I do a lot of wine club dinners, probably 3 or 4 of those a year for local wine clubs. So it's a little bit of everything we do.
Wow, that's great. That's great to know too, because I mean, honestly, I'm around the corner and I never knew you had this. Now, the name's deceiving too to me. When you say PK's Pub, you think of a pub,
right?
But you are a full service.
Yes,
restaurant.
absolutely. When we had first opened up, the pub is what we were kind of going after. And we thought we were going to go in that direction, and then the food started taking off with the first chef we had, which I believe you had on your show, Mike Latreille from Michael's. That started taking off, and then one thing led to another, and we still kind of like to keep it in a pub style. You know, it's comfortable, it's family style, it's family friendly. Right. But the food definitely is above a pub menu.
Oh, without a doubt,
without a pub menu. So, but yeah, it's been interesting.
Been good.
Very good.
What are your hours here?
We're hours Monday through Thursday. We open for lunch at 11. We close at 9. Friday we open 11 to 10 at night. Saturday we just do dinners 4:30 to 10. And then the bar will, as long as we got people here, we're here with that. So.
You have a full bar. Full selection.
Full service bar, yeah.
Okay, and you have the beer and wine.
Beer and wine.
Kids are welcome.
Kids are welcome.
Okay, this is really a family restaurant.
Absolutely.
I have my kids here.
Absolutely.
Now the food, okay. the consistency, the quality. We were talking a little bit about that before we started rolling the cameras.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
My favorite thing, obviously, we have the local flares, the greens and the riggies and that stuff. But for me, it's fish. I like to play around with different fish. When I am lucky enough to get on vacation, usually for me it's in the Caribbean or someplace like that. So I get to, thankfully, test a lot of different things and try to bring some of that back here, when we're playing around. So, on the special board, you're going to see mahi-mahi, you're going to see grouper, you're going to see snapper, you're going to see salmon, sea bass. It's really nothing's off the charts.
Nothing.
It's all acceptable.
In culinary arts, we at CNY Flavor, we love focusing on the mom and pop organizations. Culinary arts, I always preach this and during my shows, is that it's an art. Okay,
Yeah.
It's a chef's individual flavor. We try different things, and that's what you do here. It's not just one thing set on the menu.
Right.
You do a lot on the blackboard.
Do a lot on the blackboard. Like I said, just on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I tend to run 3 specials a night, different every night, and everything's welcome. I have some great vendors that constantly bring me different ideas, different product. They know that nothing's
Sacred.
Just bring it to me and let's play.
Let's try.
And I like to keep the customers, interested too. This summer, for the first time, we're actually going to change our entire menu up. We're going to lighten it up. We're going to try to do a seasonal menu, 2 menus a year anyway.
Okay.
Do a nice lighter one, bring in some different stuff for the summertime, some different salads, and just to keep it lighter.
Keep it fresh.
And then when we get back into the winter months, we'll bring in some of the heavy stuff again.
All right. What's your phone number here?
Phone number here is 866-3494.
And that's area code 315.
315, yep.
And you do take reservations?
We do take reservations. We prefer reservations on the weekends.
Because you get busy.
We get busy. It doesn't take long to fill up.
See, and that's a testament to good food too, when you got a waiting line. Now, in today's world, social media, internet, stuff like that, there's a lot of things going on. You do have a Facebook.
We are on Facebook, PK's Pub. That's with the apostrophe on there.
Okay.
So if you're there, hey, like us.
And I want to ask you, is there something or anything that you would like to say to the viewing audience now that's watching about why they should come in and give your establishment a try?
What I have tried to do, and I'm doing constantly, versus some other places, I think, although prices are going up, I'm increasing my quality. I'm bringing in better product. I want the people, when they come in and sit down, I want it to be better than they can make at home, and I want to be better than the guy down the street.